Good afternoon, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Steve. Yourself?
Good, good. We've got Steve all the way from Wisconsin, and my name obviously is Steve, and I come from Wisconsin originally. So we got two Midwestern accents going on here today,
So there
and
should be no confusion in this interview at all.
just between us two, we'll understand each other. No one
Right,
else will
right,
understand
yeah.
what we're talking about. So, Steve, what we're doing
Yeah.
is we're interviewing some of our clients, and we want people looking at our company to maybe have some questions answered that maybe they're thinking or they don't have answers to. And I guess the first question is what made you trust his capital funding when you purchased your first note?
Well, I've been looking for some type of alternative investment, and I had spoken with my accountant about it, and he had brought up his capital funding, and he's with them, and I trust my accountant. He's done very well for me over the years, and I checked him out, and I checked out several others as well. But there was one that really piqued my interest, and decided to go with it.
And how easy was it to get started, Steve?
Well, it's simple. Just a little bit of paperwork and get the money funded, and you just sit back. I mean, there's other than that, there's nothing to do. A little bit of work on the front end, then you just sit back and collect a monthly check. That's what I like about it.
You you invest some IRA capital as well as your own capital, don't you?
Correct. So about 2 years ago, I took all of my money out of the stock market and put it into a self-directed IRA. And the reason why I did that is I had read a book called 401 Chaos by Andy Tanner. And it was like a slap in the face is what the 401k is doing and feeding the Wall Street and the fees. And I knew there's something better. And that's what really got me interested in this. So I took my money out, moved it into a self-directed IRA, and it's also Roth money as well. So I invest that with his capital funding. So all my earnings are tax free, which I really love. And I don't have to do anything about it. It's mailbox money, so to speak. It's not 100% of my investments, but it's a percentage. It's my diversification.
Steve, you're considered an experienced investor, a savvy investor, if you will, and you you obviously have a portfolio of real estate properties. You own, I believe, condos and rental properties, and I think you even mentioned that you had like 30 different units. Obviously, you don't want to put your whole portfolio in whole notes, and you don't. How does that whole note fit into your portfolio? Why does it enhance your portfolio?
Yes, it does. It's something that it takes less work and attention on my part. So I've got apartments that I own, and I'm developing some condominiums as well. And obviously, those take a lot more attention. And there's just so many things you can juggle at one time. This is producing cash consistently. I don't have to think about it. It comes in. I look at the statements. Yep, it's come in and it's doing well. Just another facet, cog in the wheel, so to speak, of my investment circle. I don't want to put everything into one thing. If you got something in the stock market, everything's in the stock market. You're not diversified if you're in mutual funds. The stock market's that's an investment class in itself. So you're not invested against a bunch of different investments, in my opinion. Real estate, there's so many bonuses to it. You got depreciation and amortization of the loan, and there's just so many different aspects that I absolutely love that are beneficial tax wise, and this is just one of them. It fits in real well with what I do. I can wrap my head around it. I understand it. It makes sense to me. The stock market is, I'm not saying you can't make money in the stock market. You can. I just don't understand it, and it's a lot to learn. It really is, and you really got to be involved in my opinion, daily, to looking at all the trends and selling and buying if you want to make money.
You mentioned a self-directed IRA. How difficult was that to get set up?
That was pretty much the same thing. It was just getting it set up, filling out the paperwork, and then getting the funds transferred over from my traditional IRA where it was at. That was the most difficult part, and that wasn't the fault of where I have my money in the self-directed IRA. It was at that time, the current caretaker of my money. It was a pain in the butt to get the money out of them and over. You pretty much had to jump through hoops to make that happen.
Yeah, we went through the same thing. They don't want to lose that capital that they're investing of ours either. So they to lose it into a self-directed IRA where you have control isn't in their best interest, I guess. But I'm glad that you're doing it. It's fun watching your account grow.
Yeah, I've paid more in the last year and a half than the last 5 years. And that's the thing. I was putting money in on a monthly basis at a pretty good chunk of change every month. And at the end of the year, my balance was at the same as the beginning of the year or even less sometimes. And it's like, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. Now my money's starting to grow. I'm actually seeing significant balance changes in it, every time I look at it. And it's like, nice. This is what it should be. You told me you're going to pay me a certain percentage, and that's what I'm getting. There's no hidden fees.
And as far as your reporting, your monthly reporting is the transparency of our company. Do you feel comfortable with our reports, and you can see exactly the state of your herd, if you will?
Oh yeah, it's very, very easy to look at it and see that the interest payment has been made, and there's not much more to look at. I mean, it's real estate isn't a sexy investment, but it's generally a consistent one. So it just, I see the deposit's been made. Good. I got more money in the account to invest in another one when the time comes. So I'm just piling all that money right back into it and, waiting for the next investment opportunity to come along.
And it's interesting to watch investors come in to his capital funding here, because they all start just like myself. When I look in the mirror, I'm one of you, and we all start with maybe a $50,000-$70,000 note and kind of test the waters. But it's fun to see how you keep adding more notes and to watch it, like you said, just to watch it continue to grow.
Yep. The big picture for me is I wanted X amount of dollars in passive income when I hit retirement age, and this is just a part of it. So I'm looking at from my rentals, from the profit I make for owning several apartment buildings, and then from the whole note funding as well, and then the condominiums that just kind of fell into my lap, and I just went with it, and that's turning out to be a fun process as well. Definitely a learning process.
I look forward to learning from you on that. Actually, when we get up to Wisconsin to visit family, we're going to hook up, and I'm looking forward to. I want to see those projects of yours.
Okay.
Steve, what would you say to someone that is maybe reserved, like, or is his capital funding lending to maybe weak projects, or maybe worse yet, inadequate investors, borrowers? Do you feel confident in our system? Do you feel confident in how we vet the borrower and we vet the property? And when the time comes, when the note is available, do you feel confident it's went through our system and it's a solid deal?
Oh, you bet. It's in your best interest to be a good investment. Otherwise, you're going to lose customers, and it's just everything's going to fall apart. It's no different than you and I borrowing money to buy a property, be it personal or investment property. The bank is going to vet us and look at all aspects of stuff before they borrow the money. So I haven't personally seen your vetting process, but I can imagine it's similar to what a bank does, and going through all the checks and balances and making sure that things look good. So I don't have any issues with it at all. I know that when you call me with an investment and give me the dollar amount, and if I've got it and I don't have it earmarked for something else, I'm in. That's the trust level that I have, that I know you've done your job. So when it comes to me and I get a phone call, I'm ready to go.
And Steve, what would you say to someone that's thinking about getting started? And when I say someone, we're dealing with investors, that millennials that are coming in and they're saying, hey, I've saved $50,000 or I saved $60,000, and they would like to buy one, but they're reserved. And the other side is we're dealing with accredited investors that have several millions of dollars. And so you're talking to two audiences here, but what would you say to both audiences about buying their first whole note with his capital funding?
Well, first, for the millennial generation, actually right now I have two daughters, and I'm working with both of them. I was speaking with one earlier today about getting her paperwork complete and over to you guys so she can get set up. And she's kind of following my footsteps and taking money out of her retirement and put it into the self-directed so she can buy these notes. So, or I should say funded notes. And so I see a lot of millennials. I have several that work for me, and they don't do anything for retirement. I just shake my head and just, what do you expect? It's just going to be given to you at retirement? You got to do something. So I'm more of a take the bull by the horns approach. And, with my kids, I have a vested interest in how well they do. I want to see them do well. And I want to see my employees do well as well. But I have less control over my employees in that aspect. That's their decision. They are adults. I can't force them to do something that they're not wanting to do. And, as far as accredited investors, you must be doing something right because you're accredited. I mean, not everybody can fit in that criteria. So to me, this is just another aspect of the good decisions you've made all along the way to get to where you are.
Anything else you'd like to say, Steve, that you'd like to pass along, that knowledge from your experience or anything to the listeners?
It's been a very easy investment to do. And to me, it's solid. I mean, if for some reason the borrower defaults on the note, I'm the mortgagee. I own the property. It's mine. So I still have that asset with the stock market. If the market crashes and then you make the decision, well, I got to get out and sell, you just solidified your loss. I still have that property, so I still have value, which I like. So it's you got some safety and security with it as far as that's concerned.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Steve, and I know we tell you that we appreciate you, but we certainly are honored to work with you, and thanks for joining us today. And it's a privilege to work with you.
Yeah, have an awesome day, Steve. Thank you.
Okay.